The sun came up like a blessing on August 1st. The sky over Lagos was clear and bright. The streets were already busy with honking cars and smiling faces. Today was special. It was World Girlfriend Day. Inside a small but neat apartment in Lekki, Amara stood in front of the mirror. Her hands were shaking a little as she tied her scarf. She didn't know why she was nervous. Maybe because this day meant so much to her. Maybe because she hoped it would be perfect. Her phone buzzed. It was a message from Daniel. "Good morning, my queen. Ready for our day." Amara smiled. Daniel always called her sweet names. He wasn't rich. He didn't wear designer clothes or drive a big car. But he was present. Always. And that was something Amara loved about him. He showed up when he said he would. He remembered her favorite food. He never shouted when they disagreed. He listened, even when she didn't have the words. By noon, Daniel was at her door. He wore a simple white shirt and navy blue jeans. His shoes were clean but old. He held a small box with a ribbon and smiled like a boy in love. Amara opened the door and gasped. "Daniel! Happy World Girlfriend Day," he said, holding out the box. She opened it slowly. Inside was a silver bracelet, shiny and delicate, with the letters "My Joy" engraved on it. Amara's heart melted. "It's beautiful," she whispered. Daniel took her hand. "Come with me. I have a plan." They stepped out into the busy streets. People were rushing about. Lovers were walking hand in hand. Amara felt like a queen. The way Daniel looked at her made everything else disappear. He took her to a cozy restaurant in Victoria Island. Not fancy, not loud. Just peaceful, clean, and full of soft music. When they walked in, Daniel greeted the staff. He had made a reservation. They sat by the window. The sun spilled golden light across the table. Daniel ordered her favorite food, jollof rice with grilled chicken and a glass of cold zobo. Amara laughed and leaned close. "You really remembered everything." "Of course I did," he said. "You matter to me." After lunch, Daniel surprised her again. He asked her to follow him to his office. She looked confused. "Why? Are you working today?" "No," he smiled. "I want you to meet some people." They arrived at the office. It was a small company, not a big brand. But Daniel worked hard there, and everyone respected him. As they entered, his coworkers smiled and greeted her. "Daniel's queen," one of them teased. Another said, "So this is the famous Amara. Welcome." Daniel held her hand tighter. "This is Amara," he told them. "My girlfriend. And, hopefully, my future wife." Amara blushed. She wasn't expecting that. The room filled with warm laughter and claps. She felt proud, seen, loved. That night, back in her room, Amara lay on her bed and smiled to herself. She picked up her phone and posted a photo of the day on Instagram. She captioned it, "He may not be flashy, but he's mine. Happy World Girlfriend Day to the one who always shows up red heart." In the picture, Daniel was holding her hand. The food was on the table. The light was soft and golden. It looked like love, but then the comments started coming. "Why is the place so low-key? He wore a basic shirt on Girlfriend Day. You sure this guy is your level?" Amara's smile faded slowly. Her heart felt tight. She stared at her screen. She read the comments over and over again. Her friend Tara wrote, "You fine past the setup, girl." Another friend, Chinny, added, "If it was me, I'll never post this." More comments came. All of them saying the same thing. Daniel wasn't enough. Amara turned off her phone and sat quietly. The joy she had felt all day began to fade like a dying light. The next morning, Daniel messaged her again. "Good morning, my sunshine. Had the best day with you yesterday." She stared at the message but didn't reply right away. Something strange had entered her mind. Something that sounded like her friends' voices. Why was the restaurant so small? Why didn't he dress better? Why is he always so simple? That evening, Daniel called her. "Hi, baby," he said cheerfully. "Just wanted to hear your voice." Amara sighed. "What is it?" he asked. I'm just thinking," she said. "I need some space." There was a long pause. Daniel's voice turned soft. "Space? Are you okay?" "I just need time to figure some things out," she said, her tone cold. Daniel didn't argue. He didn't shout. He simply said, "Okay, take all the time you need." But inside, Amara wasn't thinking. Not truly. She was echoing. The voices of her friends had become her thoughts, and each word they had typed started to feel like truth. The next few days were quiet. Daniel didn't message as much. He didn't call. Amara waited, expecting him to chase her, to beg her to stay. But he didn't. Instead, he respected her request for space. Her friends kept talking. Told you he's not your level. You need someone who can show you off. Imagine posting that and not getting ashamed. The worst part, Amara started to agree. She told herself Daniel was too plain, too soft, too humble. She began going out without telling him. Started replying to other guys. Men with shiny watches and loud laughs. But none of them looked at her the way Daniel did. None of them made her feel safe like he did. 1 week passed. Then 2. Then 3. Amara finally opened her gallery one night and looked at the photo again. The one from August 1st. The one she had posted proudly before the comments came. Daniel's eyes in that photo. His hand gently holding hers. The golden light. The bracelet that said my joy. Tears stung her eyes. What have I done? She called him. It rang. Then stopped. She called again. This time it didn't go through. She sent a message. Hey, can we talk? No reply. Hours passed. Then days. She tried one more time. I miss you. Still no reply. Finally, one night, Daniel sent a short message. I wish you well, Amara. Always. That was it. No anger. No bitterness. Just final. That night, Amara sat alone in her room. She looked around and realized how quiet everything had become. No good morning, my queen. No bracelets. No smiles. Just silence. She whispered to herself, I was loved. I just didn't know how to hold it. It had been 1 month since Amara last heard Daniel's voice. 1 month since he said, I wish you well, Amara. Always. Those words had stayed in her head like a soft echo that never left. It wasn't anger. It wasn't hate. It was quiet and final. She sat on her bed one rainy morning, phone in hand, waiting for something, anything, to pop up from him. Nothing. No messages. No missed calls. Just silence. But her friends? They were louder than ever. Girl, you did the right thing, Tara said over brunch. Chinny nodded, sipping her juice. That guy was holding you back. You need someone who makes people jealous when you walk into a room. Amara smiled with her mouth, but not with her heart. Something inside her felt wrong. She missed Daniel. His calm voice. The way he said her name slowly, like a prayer. The bracelet still sat in her drawer untouched. That afternoon, she put on a fancy dress and makeup and took pictures with her girls at a rooftop lounge. They laughed. They danced. They posted. The comments poured in. Fire, fire, fire. Slay queen. Love this energy. Who needs a man anyway? Amara smiled, but her chest felt hollow. Later that night, when everyone went home, she lay in bed and opened her Instagram. She scrolled past her own post, past the fire emojis and heart eyes, and landed on Daniel's page. It hadn't changed. Still the same calm pictures. No drama. No showing off. But one new post stood out. It was a photo of him at a bookstore, holding a novel and smiling. The caption read, Sometimes peace is walking away, even when you still care. Amara's throat tightened. Was he talking about her? She tapped on the post and saw a comment from a woman. Glad you're smiling again, Dan Redheart. Her chest ached. Who is she? She clicked the woman's page. Her name was Ifioma. Pretty. Soft smile. Simple clothes. She wasn't flashy, but she looked kind. Warm. Amara dropped her phone on her bed and turned her face to the wall. She thought of messaging him again. Should I just say sorry? Should I beg? But then Tara called. You good? She asked. You looked off tonight. Amara didn't know how to reply. Yeah, I'm just tired. Well, don't forget this weekend. Teo's party is going to be mad. You'll meet real men there. Amara nodded slowly. Sure. But in her heart, she didn't want to meet anyone new. She just wanted to go back in time. Back to August 1st. Back to that simple restaurant. The soft music. The warm light. The hand that held hers. But time doesn't go backward. 2 weeks later, Amara saw him. It wasn't planned. She was at a book cafe with a friend when Daniel walked in, holding Ifioma's hand. They didn't see her at first. He looked different. Lighter. Not in clothes, in spirit. His smile was soft, and his shoulders no longer looked heavy. Amara froze. "Are you okay?" her friend asked. "I need to go." She rushed out and stood by a palm tree outside, her heart thumping like a drum. Her eyes burned, but she blinked fast. She didn't cry. She just stood there, letting the wind blow against her face. The days after that were quiet again. Amara stopped going out so much. She stayed in. She thought. She cried. She remembered. She remembered his laugh when she told silly jokes. She remembered how he waited at her gate for hours during the rain just to bring her medicine. She remembered how his eyes looked when she wore her yellow gown, full of light. And then she remembered how she let it all go. Because someone said his shirt was too basic. Because someone else said he wasn't her level. She remembered echoing those voices, not her heart. Now, they were all gone. The voices, the friends. Even Tara was no longer calling as much. The party days were fading. The excitement didn't last. She was alone, not just in her room, but in her spirit. One evening, she sat by her window and held the bracelet in her hand. My joy. It still sparkled. She wore it again, just for a second, and the tears finally came. Big, round, hot tears. "I was loved," she whispered. "And I walked away." She tried one last time. She typed out a message. "Hi, Daniel. I know it's late, but I'm sorry. Truly. I didn't know what I was doing. I let noise guide me instead of love. I miss you." She stared at it for a long time. Then, she pressed send. Minutes passed. Then hours. No reply. No blue tick. Just sent. She slept that night with a pillow soaked in tears. The next morning, her phone buzzed. Not a message. A tag. Tara had posted something. It was a group picture from one of the past parties. The caption read, "We rise by leaving nonsense behind crown." The comments were filled with claps and "Preach Queen" emojis. Amara stared at it. Was she the nonsense? That was the last straw. She deleted the picture. Then the app. Then the group chat. She needed silence. Real silence. Not the kind that comes from people ignoring you, the kind that helps you listen to your own voice again. Weeks passed. Amara began to heal. Slowly, she started writing in a journal. She started reading again. She went back to painting, something Daniel once encouraged her to do. She still missed him, but now she also missed herself. The version of her that knew how to love softly. The girl who didn't need people's approval to be happy. The girl who smiled with her whole soul. She found old photos of her and Daniel. She didn't delete them. She printed one and framed it, not because she was holding on, but because she never wanted to forget. One day, she walked past the same bookstore Daniel loved. She stopped outside, heart beating fast. She didn't go in, but she smiled, because this time, she wasn't chasing him. She was finding herself. That night was August 1st again. World Girlfriend Day. Her phone was quiet. No flowers. No dinner. Just her. Alone. She lay on her bed and opened her journal. She wrote, "This day used to be gold. Then it became ashes. But maybe next year, it'll be soil, soft, and ready for something new to grow." Then she turned off the light and let the silence hold her. August 1st came again. The sun rose, just like it did last year. The sky over Lagos was bright, the roads filled with honking cars, people rushing to work, and young lovers posting pictures with captions like, "My one and only red heart, #World Girlfriend Day." But in Amara's room, the air was still. She sat on her bed, dressed in a red blouse and jeans, looking at nothing. Her phone was beside her. No new messages. No missed calls. No "Good morning, my queen." Not anymore. The bracelet that once said "My joy" now sat quietly on her desk. She hadn't worn it since that night she cried herself to sleep. But she hadn't thrown it away either. She couldn't. There were days she wanted to pretend nothing happened. That she never met Daniel. That August 1st was just another date on the calendar. But her heart wouldn't let her forget. Some love stories don't leave loudly. They don't slam doors. They just fade, like the last echo of a favorite song. Over the past year, Amara had changed. She had grown. She had broken. And slowly, she had begun to rebuild. But the pieces didn't fit the way they used to. She was no longer the girl who needed approval from a comment section. But she was also no longer the girl with Daniel's laughter filling her days. She tried dating again. There was Chuka, who had a flashy car and always paid the bills. But he talked over her. There was Jide, who looked perfect on paper, rich, confident, connected, but who never asked about her dreams, only her dress size. And once, she went on a date with someone who wore the same perfume as Daniel. She left early. The smell was too heavy. No one matched the softness, the presence, the honesty. No one made her feel home. She walked past Daniel once in a mall. He didn't see her. He was with Ifeoma, holding her hand. They laughed together, gently, like nothing else in the world mattered. Amara stood by a clothing rack, pretending to look at dresses, her heart slowly cracking open again. When they walked past, she didn't turn, but she felt the air shift, like the ghost of what could have been was walking right beside her. That night, she didn't cry, but she also didn't sleep. Weeks later, she got an invitation. A wedding. Daniel's. The card was soft cream with gold lines. His name was printed with Ifeoma's. The date was clear. August 31st. Almost poetic. Amara held the card like it was glass. She didn't know how it found her. Maybe through a mutual friend. Or maybe Daniel wanted her to know. She wasn't angry. She wasn't jealous. She was just quiet. On the wedding day, she stayed home. She didn't stalk anyone's stories. She didn't scroll through the photos. She took a long shower, wore a yellow dress, and sat on her balcony with a cup of tea. She whispered to herself, "You lost him, but you found you." Then she went back inside and painted for hours. Her canvas filled with warm colors, gold, blue, and the softest shade of red. The kind of red that doesn't burn. The kind that hums. Now it was August 1st again. World Girlfriend Day. She was alone again. But something had shifted. The loneliness wasn't loud anymore. It was soft. Like a friend who didn't talk, just sat beside her. Amara opened her drawer and pulled out the bracelet. She wore it. It still fit. She looked in the mirror. Not to impress. Not to post. Just to see herself. She saw someone who had once been loved deeply. And someone who now understood that the loudest mistakes are often made in whispers. She walked down the street that evening and bought herself flowers. White ones. Her favorite. She passed couples holding hands, girls taking pictures with their boyfriends, laughter echoing everywhere. And she smiled. Not because she was happy, but because she was healing. Back in her room, she opened her journal and wrote. Some people walk away too soon. Some people walk away too late. And some people echo voices that were never theirs. I was loved, but I listened to noise. This August, I carry no ring, but I carry the truth, and that will have to be enough. She closed the book gently. The light outside faded. The world grew quiet, and in the silence she let go. Not of Daniel, but of the version of herself that didn't know how to stay. If you have not subscribed to my channel, you might not hear my voice again, but if you are, then you are growing every day. Check my page for more interesting stories. Thanks for watching.